Hello everybody, this video is for how to model the tuna bottle opener. This one is brass. Notice I have some these aren't modeled. This is some toolpath trickery that we're going to do in some other videos, but this video is for how to model. Let me share my screen. I have this. Thought I got rid of my prints. Here we go. I have this broken down in 3 prints. We have the Tuna 1 drawing, Tuna 2 drawing, let me zoom out of there, and Tuna 3 drawing. They're broken down in a little more complexity and on 3 different prints to make it a little bit easier so you don't have to see so many dimensions at one time. Let's get to it. I'll be referencing, this is the Tuna 1 drawing, and I'll be using Fusion 360s. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open Fusion 360 and I want to save this puppy, and I'm going to go File, Save. I have it go into a location where I know where it is, my clay videos, and I'm going to say Tuna 1 and I'm going to say Save. And then the next thing I do, this is critical in Fusion, is I'm going to right click and say New Component, and I'm going to call this the Tuna. Well, just Tuna. So there we go. So I want to start off making a component because later if I move it around and add joints or do fixturing, I need it as a component to make it easier to move with joints or for edits when I have to go back and edit stuff or change geometry or whatever. So there we go. It's a component. This little dot right here means it's an active component. And then if you have a bunch of components and you want to activate the assembly, you come up here and there'll be a dot and you'll turn that on. So this is looking good. And whenever I start machining, I look here at the view cube. I pretend like I'm in a 3-axis milling machine, so I'm looking down at the part. So here we go. I have my Z up, I have my Z up, X going to the right, Y going away from me. That is done here in your preferences. So I'll just go over it really quick. So right here, I'll go to default Z up, and then I have a standard kind of mouse with a little wheel in the middle. And I'll do SolidWorks for the pan, zoom, orbit. I'll go apply and then OK. That way I can hold down that little wheel and move my mouse in orbit really nice. All right, enough of that. Let's look at my print. So right here is my print. This is for my website, the little QR code. I have all this gibberish down here. You can read it if you want. Ooh, antivirus. Let's get off. Oh, no. There we go. I'm going to look at the outside profile of this thing. So I'm going to start, and I'm just going to make a rectangle that's going to be 3.5 by 0.7. This is the total length of my part. That's the total height, and then here's my thickness. So I'm going to start with sketching. I'm going to select sketch, and then now what plane do I want to start sketching on is I want to do the top because again I'm looking down like a CNC mill, and then I just on the view cube I selected top. Now I'm going to select the plane. So boom, now I'm in sketch mode. You see these are all sketching tools. I'm going to create rectangle, center rectangle. Now this is my origin point, and everything you draw needs to be referenced off the origin point. It's its location in space. And with a center point rectangle, I'm going to click and I'm going to drag. And since I'm dumb, I need to go back and look at my print. It's 3.5 by 0.7. So let me click back over. And the length is 3.5. And then to get to the other box without using my mouse, I'll just go tab and I'll say 0.7. And now when I like what I see, I'll say enter. And this black means it's fully constrained. It's not floating in space. So it's at a known location from your origin point, which is just kind of pretend it's your X0, Y0, Z0. Perfect. That's looking great. Now let's come back. What do I want to do next? So what can I pick apart from this drawing? This lowest point, if I do 3.5 divided by 2, is 1.75. So I can tell that this lowest point right here is in the center of my part. And at that lowest point, it's 0.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use those dimensions. I'm going to go create, and I'm going to select a point. I'm going to sketch some points, and I'm going to purposely put this point off of center, and I'm purposely going to put this point off of center. So they're white right now. That means they are not constrained. I'm going to close this up, so I'll just open this all the way. Let me zoom out a touch. All right. So these are not constrained. Now we have these tools here to help us constrain things, and that is basically to turn them black so they're at a known location in space. I'm going to click on here, my vertical horizontal constraints, and I want to have this guy constrained with my origin. So I'm going to click on my origin, and then I'll click on here, boom, vertically constrained. And then I'm going to do the same with this guy here. I'm going to go click on the origin point, and then click on that point that I drew, boom. And I'm going to hit escape so I can get rid of the constraints. If you see on my cursor, there's the horizontal and vertical. I'm going to say escape, so now it's gone. Now if you look, I constrain them vertically, but I can, like, they're on the same vertical, but I can still drag it up and down. I can drag this one up and down because they're not black. So I need to give those a dimension. And from my print, that dimension, that total distance, this is my center line. So it's going to be 0.25 and 0.25. So let's go back over here. And I can go up here and hit sketch the dimension here, or on my keyboard, I just hit D for dimension. And I like to do that. So I'll go D. And then I'll click my origin point, and I'll click that point, drag it on over, and it's going to be 0.25. And then I'm going to, and you see it turn black. I'll do the same with this point here, and I will say 0.25. Now sometimes people, and I'm going to hit escape because I want to get rid of the dimension tool. Now sometimes people, if they're looking at my prints or videos, they go, oh no, my dimension's over here. It doesn't matter. For what we're doing right here, you can drag these however you want. Just drag it so you can, what makes the most sense for you. So I have that. Now let's go back to my print. Now I'm going to attempt this angle right here. I can tell that it's a 5-degree angle off this center line. And it goes all the way until it goes straight again. Let me zoom in. So those are 0.7, 0.7. I'm going to sketch that angle. So I can come up here and click line, or on my keyboard I can hit L for the line. So I'll hit L, and I'm going to click on here. I'm just going to drag it in the general direction. And you see right now what's highlighted is the dimension. I'm going to hit Tab on my keyboard and go over to the degrees, and it's at the very top of my screen right now. And I'm just going to hit 5. And you see it puts it back on the other way because it's trying to say 0, 5, and then go around. But what I can do is when I have 5 populated in there, I can drag it back over here. I'm just going to drag it past that horizontal line I have and click. And I'm going to hit escape because I'm done with that line. And you see it's 5 degrees, and I have a little tab here. We'll take care of that later. But I'm just kind of dragging my general lines. There's a lot of ways to do stuff in Fusion, so this is just a way to do it. And so I'm going to hit L. Let's go this other direction, and I'm just going to tab so I'm in my degree box, and I'll go 5, and then I'll just drag till we're off. Perfect. I'm going to hit escape because I don't want to continue off this line, and I'm going to do the same down here because if we look at our drawing, this side is symmetric with this side. I'm going to hit L, come to this point, drag it down, and you know my trick. I'm going to tab on over 5 degrees. Fusion says it's far smarter than me, but I say no, I'm going to override you, so I drag it over here, I drag off, I hit escape again. I'm going to hit my L for line, click on this point, drag it this way, tab over, I'm going to hit the tab to get in my degree box, and 5, and it looks like it's clear off my part, so I'm just going to hit enter. Now, you're like, bozo, these things are hanging over, let's clean it up. We're going to use our trim tool. And if you notice I hover, it kind of tells you what to do underneath it, but I'll just hit T on my keyboard for trim, so I'll go T, and you can see it will light up red of what's going to be trimmed, and I want that little tab, that little guy trimmed off, I want that little guy trimmed off, this trimmed off, this trimmed off. And these are all black because they're constrained, so I have a fixed point here, it's at a fixed angle, so it's all at known locations in space, so we're looking good. All right, print time. We have this general shape here. Now let's do these chamfers. This chamfer is going to be symmetric since I don't have any other dimensions over here, so I'm going to assume that it is going to be the same. So it's a 0.275 by 0.1. And here's a cool little trick. So you see my snip tool still on. I want to hit escape, and on my keyboard I'm going to hit L for line. And I'm just going to kind of snap it. I know it's going to be snapped on this line, and it's going to be snapped on this line, on that vertical and this horizontal. So you see it's blue. It means I can drag this thing around. It is not constrained. And from here to here was 0.275, so I'll just go D for dimension. Well, you see I clicked on there, so it automatically did it. Let me hit escape. And let me hit D for dimension again. So if it doesn't automatically do it, I'm going to go to this point, and then I'm going to go to this point, and I'll say 0.275, enter. And it's not constrained yet because we have to do it on this vertical. And I'm going to click on this corner and on the point, the end of the line, and it was 100 thou, 0.1, enter. Now there is a tool where I could just draw this whole side and then mirror over a mirror plane, but I'm not trying to get in that in this video. So I'm going to repeat what I did here. I'll repeat it on this one since it's the same. So I'm going to hit L for line. Just click on that horizontal, click on this vertical, and then I'm going to hit D for dimension. I'm going to dimension from that into that line point to this corner, 0.275, enter. And from the end of the line, this little point to this corner is 0.1, enter. Look at that. We have it's fully constrained. I love it. And Mr. Franz, what this is here, we know this is going to go away. Shouldn't I just delete it? No, I'll show you when we do the extrude, when we add the thickness to it. So I like what I'm seeing. Now let's look at this end of things. We have this outside diameter is 0.7 inches. This inside diameter is 0.530, and it's dimensioned from the center of this part. So since we started with our rectangle in the center, it's going to be really easy. So we're going to do this 0.530. So I can come up here and click on that for circle, or I can use my shortcut C for circle. I'm purposely going to put this kind of crooked where it's not on the same in line with the origin. And what did I say? 0.53, enter. So you see it's blue, not constrained. So now it's constrained. I'm horizontally going to constrain it right here. So I'm going to click, and I'm going to go boom and boom. So now this center is aligned with this center. I'm going to hit escape so my little constraint tool goes away. So I can't drag it up and down, but I can drag it side to side. So I need to slap that dimension on it, which is from the center point is 1.4 inches. And this has the same center point as well. So I'll go D, and I will say 1.4 inches. And since I forgot already, this is 0.7 the outer, so I'm going to hit C for circle, and I will say 0.7, enter. And we have the basic shape. That is going to conclude sheet 1 of 3, and we are not extruding it yet. We're going to, on sheet 2, so this is going to be the end of the video. We are going to continue to sheet 2. I'll have a new video for that. But I want to continue doing all this sketching on this same sketch so I don't have multiple sketches. And that is it. I will say finish sketch so we have a point to leave off on. So I'll say finish sketch. And if you notice, this is our component. If I click down this drop down, we have our sketch, which is this guy. So when we need to edit it in the future, we'll right click and say edit sketch. And notice there's no bodies yet because we haven't made anything three-dimensional. That is it. I will see you in video 2.